Once upon a time, there lived a small African antelope called the Klipspringer. His name means rock jumper in Afrikaans, but his scientific name is Oreotragus oreotragus. He's part of the kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Artiodactyla, and family Bovidae. Klipspringers are one of the smallest antelope, normally only about 22 inches tall. They live in southern Africa, mostly occupying mountain fynbos, kopjes in the woodlands and the savanna, and all the way up to the highly mountainous highlands of Ethiopia. Over time, they've developed a salt and pepper pattern coat so that they can blend in with the kopjes. And on top of that, they have this cool insulated fur that helps protect them if they fall. They've also adapted these super red hooves that are reminiscent of these cute little ballet shoes. They stand on the very tips of near circular hooves, each about the diameter of a dime. They're blunt and rubbery just like skid-proof shoes. That way they can jump on rocks and they won't fall. Because they're so small and live in open habitats, they're easy prey for leopards and caracoles. With their adaptive hooves, muscular bodies, and slightly arched backs, they can jump vertically up rocks up to 30 feet high, or 15 times their height. That's like one of us jumping straight to the top of 3 of the Chicago beans stacked on top of each other. And not only that, but they can balance on patches of rocks only about an inch in diameter. Because their high altitude makes them easy prey for eagles, they hide their offspring away in crevices for 2 to 3 months at a time. And even though they don't typically live in groups, they came up with this awesome communication system to help out their friends. You see, when they see a predator, initially they'll just freeze. Like, that'll help anything, but if a predator approaches them, they make a trumpet-like alarm call through their nostrils that can be heard nearly a kilometer away. And while that may be super annoying, it scares away predators and helps out their buddies too.
The Klipspringer's digestive system is well fit to its environment. Klipspringers get most of their water from eating plants instead of drinking. Their digestive system is very adaptable, so woody, tough plants are easy to digest during dry periods in their environment. Antelopes are herbivores and ruminants. How many parts does a ruminant's stomach have? A. 1. B. 2. C. 4. D. 20. The answer is C. A ruminant's stomach has 4 parts. The 4 parts of the stomach are the rumen, the reticulum, the omasum, and the abomasum. In the first 2 chambers, the rumen and the reticulum, the food is mixed with saliva and separates into layers of solid and liquid material. Solids clump together to form cud. Since vertebrates can't hydrolyze plant cellulose, because they lack the enzyme cellulase, they depend on microbial flora to digest cellulose. The microflora in the rumen consists of several species of bacteria, protozoa, sometimes yeast, and other fungi. Fiber, like cellulose, is primarily broken down in the rumen. Protein and non-structural carbohydrates, like sugars and starches, are also fermented. The degraded material passes from the reticulum into the omasum, where water and many of the inorganic mineral elements are absorbed into the bloodstream. In the last chamber, the abomasum is the equivalent of a 1-part stomach, and the plant material is digested by enzymes to break down the bacteria and release nutrients. Digesta is finally moved into the small intestine where the absorption of nutrients occurs. Klipspringers are regulators. They are endothermic and homeothermic, which means they maintain a stable internal body temperature regardless of external influence. Klipspringers use evaporative cooling through nasal panting because they can't afford to sweat in an arid environment. The hairs of a klipspringer are hollow and smooth flat. Their hair assists with the reflection of radiant heat and provides insulation from thermal extremes. Klipspringers avoid conduction. What does this mean? A. They stay in the heat to keep warm. B. They stay in the shade to keep cool. C. They avoid conducting at orchestra concerts. D. They transmit electrical power. The answer is B. They stay in the shade to keep cool. Klipspringers are most active early in the morning and late in the afternoon to avoid the sun. When the temperatures are cool, Klipspringers will remain active throughout the day.
There are many subspecies of Klipspringer, but their diets are all very similar. They are browsers, but rarely eat grass. They primarily feed during the hours of the early morning and late afternoon. Because of this, they can spend anywhere from 15 to 41% of their day feeding. Klipspringers are frugivores and folivores, with fruit and flowers making up 2/3 of their diet, and they eat a variety of plant life including candlewood, sour plum, kudu berry, hornpod, kuni bush, and velvet bush willow. They get the majority of their water from plants, occasionally feeding on succulents with thick, fleshy leaves and roots. Klipspringers have narrow muzzles that they use to selectively browse vegetation. Smaller mammals typically have higher reproduction rates, but their energy requirement per unit of body mass is actually higher than the average antelope due to their compact size and high metabolic rates. Klipspringers have small stomachs, but can consume up to 35 pounds of food a day by selectively foraging. They maximize their energy expenditure by reducing feeding time, hiding to avoid heat, and utilizing stored body fat for energy at the expense of lower reproductive rate. In Kiswahili, these animals are actually called goat of the rocks, and on average they live approximately 16 years in the wild. Some of the subspecies have horns, some of them don't, but it all just kind of depends on where you are in Africa. A lot of people keep Klipspringers as pets, and this actually does not do a lot of harm to these animals. Some of the most successful Klipspringers are bred and raised in captivity. They're not very hard to care for, and are pretty self-sufficient and not aggressive whatsoever. Not a lot of research has been done on the Klipspringer because they are on the least concern list of the endangered species list. However, a lot of African hunters take pride in showing off their Klipspringer mounts. I don't know who would want to kill something as cute as this. In general, these little antelopes are pretty rad.